Solitude is often misunderstood in our world today. Many people equate being alone with being lonely, but the two are vastly different. For a woman with no friends, solitude can be one of the most powerful experiences she will ever go through if approached with the right perspective. Rather than being a time of sadness or feeling abandoned, solitude is an opportunity to grow stronger, to reflect deeply, and to connect with something greater than herself. It can be a season where she discovers her true strength, finds her identity outside of social circles, and learns to lean on God rather than on human relationships for validation and purpose. In today's world, the idea of being without friends can seem alarming, especially when society places such importance on social connections. But what if I told you that solitude, when embraced with the right mindset, is a powerful season of growth? Being a woman with no friends doesn't mean you're lacking, but instead, you're being positioned for something greater. When a woman finds herself without friends, she is often forced to go inward and reflect. This period of introspection allows her to examine who she really is, what she values, and what she is called to do. In a culture that celebrates constant connection, there is an unspoken fear of being alone. We are conditioned to believe that if we don't have friends, something must be wrong with us. But what if solitude is a gift? What if the absence of friends is actually a sign that you are being set apart for a higher purpose? There is strength in standing alone, in learning how to be your own greatest source of encouragement, and in discovering the inner resilience that only surfaces when no one else is around. Without the distraction of social connections, she can think more clearly about her purpose and the direction of her life. She is not influenced by the opinions or judgments of others, but instead, she is able to listen to her own heart and, more importantly, to the voice of God. In this time, she can strengthen her relationship with the Creator, understanding that true strength does not come from the presence of friends, but from the presence of God in her life. One of the remarkable things about solitude is that it often leads to self-discovery. A woman who has no friends may begin to see aspects of herself that she never noticed before. She may discover strengths, talents, or passions that were overshadowed by the demands of social life. In the quiet of solitude, she can begin to develop those gifts and prepare herself for the next chapter of her life. This period is not about being lonely, but about being alone for a purpose. It's a time when God can work on her, shaping her character, molding her heart, and preparing her for what's to come. It's also important to recognize that solitude is not a permanent state. It is a season, and like all seasons, it will eventually change. But during this season, a woman has the opportunity to strengthen her emotional and spiritual foundation. She learns how to depend on herself and on God rather than relying on external relationships for validation. This builds a resilience within her that will carry her through future challenges. When a woman can stand strong on her own, she is prepared for anything. She becomes unshakable, knowing that her strength comes from within and from her relationship with God, not from the approval or companionship of others. Solitude also teaches a woman the power of discernment. When she is without friends, she has the time and space to reflect on the relationships she has had in the past and the types of people she wants to allow into her life in the future. She can begin to see which friendships were draining her, which ones were toxic, and which ones were not aligned with her purpose. This period of reflection sharpens her ability to discern who truly belongs in her life and who doesn't. As she grows in discernment, she will be more selective in the future, ensuring that the people she surrounds herself with are those who support her growth, challenge her in positive ways, and share in her vision for life. Solitude allows a woman to develop her own voice. When she is not constantly influenced by the opinions or judgments of friends, she can begin to trust her own thoughts and instincts. She learns to speak with confidence and to stand by her convictions even when no one else is standing with her. This is an incredibly empowering experience. A woman who has developed her own voice in solitude is a woman who can walk into any situation with confidence, knowing that her strength does not come from external sources but from within. So when a woman finds herself without friends, she should not see it as a failure or a problem. Instead, she should recognize it as a divine opportunity for growth. This is the time to go inward, to develop a stronger relationship with God, and to discover the strength that lies within. Solitude is a season of preparation, not of punishment. It's a time to reflect, to grow, and to prepare for the future. When the season of solitude ends, a woman who has embraced its lessons will emerge stronger, wiser, and ready to face whatever comes next with confidence and grace. In a world where so much of our identity is shaped by our relationships and social circles, the idea of a woman with no friends can be deeply unsettling for many. Society teaches us that our worth is often tied to how many people we know, how well connected we are, and how many friends we can call on at any given time. But true self-identity goes far beyond social connections. It is not defined by how many people surround you, but by the understanding of who you are when no one else is there. For a woman with no friends, this can be a pivotal time to truly explore and discover her own identity without the external pressures or influences that come from others. When a woman is surrounded by friends, there is often an unspoken pressure to conform to group dynamics. Whether she realizes it or not, her thoughts, actions, and decisions can be influenced by the people around her. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. Friends can offer valuable support, guidance, and encouragement. But there's also the possibility that friendships can blur the lines of individuality, causing a woman to lose sight of her unique calling and identity. Sometimes being in the midst of others can drown out the inner voice that's trying to tell her who she really is. When a woman finds herself without friends, she is given a rare opportunity to step back and evaluate her life from a new perspective. In this solitude, she can begin to ask important questions. Who am I when no one else is around? What do I truly believe in? What are my values? What is my purpose? Without the influence of friends, she is able to explore these questions in a deeper, more authentic way. This is where true self-identity begins to form, not based on what others think or expect of her, but based on her own understanding of who she is and what she stands for. This period of solitude can also be a time for a woman to reconnect with her spiritual identity. In the absence of friends, she can focus on building a closer relationship with God, which in turn helps her understand her true worth. Too often, people rely on social validation to feel valued. They look to friends for approval, affirmation, and a sense of belonging. But when those external sources of validation are stripped away, a woman can finally begin to see herself through God's eyes. She can recognize that her worth doesn't come from human relationships, but from her divine purpose and calling. In God's eyes, she is valuable, loved, and worthy, regardless of how many friends she has or doesn't have. One of the challenges of being without friends is that it can feel like you are missing out on something. You might wonder if there is something wrong with you, or if you are doing something that pushes people away. But solitude can reveal that your identity is not dependent on the approval or presence of others. In fact, this season can teach a woman that her identity is solid and unshakable, regardless of her social situation. She is not defined by how many people like her or how many friends she has, but by her character, her values, and her God-given purpose. This realization can bring a profound sense of freedom. A woman who spends time alone has the opportunity to cultivate inner strength and independence. She doesn't need to rely on friends to make decisions, to find happiness, or to feel secure. Instead, she can learn to trust her own instincts, to make choices based on her own values, and to find joy in her own company. This is not about rejecting the idea of friendship altogether, but about developing a deep sense of self that isn't dependent on external validation. When a woman knows who she is apart from others, she is able to form healthier, more balanced relationships in the future, relationships that are built on mutual respect and understanding, rather than a need for validation. In this season of solitude, a woman can also rediscover her passions and interests that may have been pushed aside in the busyness of social life. Without the constant presence of friends, she has the time and space to pursue activities that truly fulfill her. Whether it's developing a new skill, diving deeper into her career, or exploring her creative side, she can invest time into the things that bring her joy and align with her purpose. This process of self-discovery is empowering. It allows her to connect with her authentic self, which in turn strengthens her sense of identity. As she moves through this journey of self-discovery, a woman with no friends begins to realize that her identity is multifaceted. She is not just a daughter, a sister, or a friend. She is a unique individual with a specific calling and purpose. She understands that friendships, while important, are not the foundation of her identity. They are a part of her life, but they do not define her. Her true identity is found in who she is when she stands alone in her values, her faith, her passions, and her relationship with God. This time without friends can be one of the most valuable seasons of a woman's life. It allows her to strip away the external labels and roles that society has placed on her and to embrace her true self. In doing so, she becomes stronger, more independent, and more confident in who she is and what she stands for. And when the time comes for her to form new friendships, those relationships will be grounded in authenticity, because she will no longer be seeking validation from others. She will already know who she is. When a woman finds herself without friends, it can be a deeply unsettling experience at first. However, it can also be a powerful opportunity for her to realign her focus and discover her true purpose. Friends often bring joy, support, and companionship, but they can also create distractions from the deeper questions of life. Why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing with my life? In the absence of those social connections, a woman is forced to turn inward and reflect on her own path, her values, and the direction in which she is headed. This period of reflection can lead to a powerful breakthrough in discovering her true purpose in life. Without the constant input or influence of friends, a woman has the space and quiet to really listen to her own thoughts, feelings, and desires. In this solitude, she can begin to identify what truly matters to her. Often, when we are surrounded by friends, we get caught up in the goals and dreams of others. We may follow certain paths because they are popular or because they align with what our friends are doing, rather than because they are true to who we are. But when those social distractions are removed, a woman can begin to focus on her own calling. She can ask herself the big questions: what is my passion? What do I feel called to do? What brings me fulfillment? This process of self-discovery is often uncomfortable at first. Without friends to talk to or confide in, a woman may feel isolated or unsure of herself. But over time, she begins to realize that this solitude is not a punishment, but an invitation to go deeper. In the stillness, she can start to discern the unique gifts and talents that she possesses, and she can begin to imagine how those gifts can be used to serve others or make a difference in the world. This is when purpose becomes clear, not through the noise of social interactions, but through the quiet reflection that solitude provides. Another key aspect of discovering purpose in solitude is the ability to reconnect with spiritual guidance. Often the busyness of social life can drown out the still, small voice of God speaking into our lives. But when a woman finds herself without friends, she has more time and space to seek divine direction. She can spend more time in prayer, meditation, or reading scripture, allowing herself to be guided by a higher power rather than the opinions or advice of others. In this way, solitude becomes a time of spiritual alignment, where a woman can gain clarity on her God-given purpose and the path she is meant to follow. This process of spiritual alignment often brings with it a deeper sense of peace. While friends can provide encouragement and affirmation, true purpose comes from within, from understanding who you are in relation to your Creator. A woman who spends time in solitude seeking divine guidance will come to understand that her purpose is not something that the world can give or take away. It is a calling that comes from God, and it is unique to her. As she embraces this understanding, she becomes less concerned with the opinions of others and more focused on fulfilling the mission she has been given. Solitude also allows a woman to take an honest inventory of her life. Without the input or influence of friends, she can assess her strengths, weaknesses, and areas of growth. This kind of self-evaluation is crucial for discovering purpose, because it helps a woman see where she is equipped and where she needs to develop further. Perhaps she has a talent for leadership but has never had the opportunity to develop it. Or maybe she has a passion for serving others but hasn't had the clarity to know where to start. In the quiet of solitude, these insights can emerge, giving a woman a clearer sense of direction and purpose. Being without friends can help a woman develop a stronger sense of independence and self-reliance. In the past, she may have relied on her friends for guidance or reassurance, but in this season of solitude, she learns to trust her own instincts. This inner strength is essential for discovering and pursuing purpose. When a woman is confident in her own abilities and in the guidance she receives from God, she is able to take bold steps toward fulfilling her calling. She no longer needs the approval or encouragement of others to move forward. She knows that she is on the right path because she has taken the time to listen to her own heart and to God's voice. Another benefit of this season of solitude is that it allows a woman to reevaluate her relationships and the role they play in her life. Often we form friendships based on convenience or proximity rather than shared values or purpose. But when a woman takes time away from social interactions, she can begin to discern which relationships are truly aligned with her purpose and which are not. This clarity will help her make wiser decisions about the people she allows into her life in the future. When she understands her purpose, she will seek out relationships that support that purpose rather than ones that distract from it. In the end, solitude is not about being alone forever. It is a season of preparation, a time to reflect, to grow, and to discover the unique purpose that God has placed on a woman's life. When she emerges from this season, she will be stronger, more focused, and more confident in who she is and what she is called to do. She will no longer be swayed by the opinions of others or the need for social validation because she has discovered her true purpose in life. And when she does reconnect with others, she will be able to form deeper, more meaningful relationships that are aligned with her values and her calling. One of the most powerful lessons a woman can learn when she finds herself without friends is the value of embracing her own strength and independence. It can be easy to feel lost or vulnerable when social support is absent, but solitude offers a unique opportunity to tap into inner resilience. Often we underestimate our ability to stand alone, to make decisions on our own, and to navigate life's challenges without relying on others for validation or encouragement. Yet, it is in these moments of solitude that a woman can discover her true capacity for independence, self-reliance, and strength. When a woman is surrounded by friends, there is often a tendency to lean on them for support in decision-making. Whether consciously or subconsciously, the presence of friends can influence her choices, behaviors, and even her goals. Friends might offer advice, share their opinions, or weigh in on important life decisions, sometimes making it difficult for a woman to trust her own instincts. However, when she finds herself alone, she has no choice but to rely on her own inner voice and intuition. This is where true growth happens, when she learns to trust herself, to make decisions based on her own values, and to move forward confidently without the need for external input. This newfound independence can be both empowering and transformative. When a woman is forced to stand on her own 2 feet, she begins to realize that she is capable of more than she previously imagined. She can handle difficult situations, make tough decisions, and overcome challenges without the safety net of friends. This builds a deep sense of self-confidence that is not easily shaken. A woman who has learned to stand alone becomes less dependent on the opinions or approval of others. She understands that her strength comes from within and that she is fully equipped to handle whatever life throws at her. Independence also brings with it a sense of freedom. When a woman is no longer bound by the expectations or judgments of others, she is free to live authentically. She can pursue her own goals, follow her passions, and make choices that are aligned with her true self, rather than trying to fit into the mold that others may have created for her. This kind of freedom is exhilarating because it allows a woman to explore who she truly is without the constraints of social pressure. She can take risks, try new things, and step out of her comfort zone without worrying about what others will think. Another important aspect of independence is the ability to cultivate emotional resilience. When a woman is constantly surrounded by friends, it can be easy to rely on them for emotional support during difficult times. While there is value in having a support system, there is also immense value in learning how to manage emotions and challenges on one's own. Solitude offers a woman the chance to develop emotional strength, to face hardships without immediately turning to others for help, and to build her own coping mechanisms. This kind of resilience is crucial for personal growth because it teaches her that she has the ability to overcome adversity independently. Embracing independence also means taking responsibility for one's own happiness. It's easy to fall into the trap of believing that happiness comes from external sources, whether that's friendships, relationships, or social activities. But when a woman is alone, she has the opportunity to discover that true happiness comes from within. She learns that she doesn't need friends or social validation to feel fulfilled. Instead, she can find joy in her own company, in pursuing her passions, and in living a life that aligns with her values. This realization is incredibly freeing because it shifts the focus from external validation to internal contentment. When a woman embraces her independence, she becomes a more empowered and self-sufficient individual. She no longer waits for others to give her permission to pursue her dreams or take action. Instead, she takes charge of her own life and makes decisions based on what she knows is best for herself. This level of empowerment is not only beneficial for her personal growth, but also for her future relationships. A woman who is strong and independent will attract healthier, more balanced relationships because she is not looking for someone else to complete or validate her. She enters relationships from a place of strength, not neediness, and this allows for deeper, more meaningful connections. Embracing independence does not mean that a woman must live in isolation forever. Rather, it is about cultivating a deep sense of self-reliance and inner strength that remains even when she eventually re-enters social circles or forms new friendships. When she has learned to stand on her own, she will be able to engage in relationships in a healthier way without losing herself in the process. She will no longer seek friendships out of loneliness or insecurity, but out of a desire for mutual respect and shared values. This is the key to forming authentic, lasting connections with others. A woman who embraces her independence becomes a role model for others. In a society that often encourages conformity and dependence on social groups, a woman who confidently walks her own path stands out. She shows others that it is possible to be strong, self-reliant, and fulfilled without needing constant validation from friends or peers. Her independence becomes a source of inspiration for others who may feel pressured to conform or rely too heavily on their social circles for support. By embracing her own strength, she empowers others to do the same. The process of embracing independence is a journey of self-discovery and personal growth. It is about learning to trust oneself, to make decisions confidently, and to find fulfillment within. It is about realizing that a woman's worth is not determined by how many friends she has, but by her character, her values, and her inner strength. When a woman fully embraces her independence, she becomes a force to be reckoned with, strong, self-assured, and unshakable in her identity. And from this place of independence, she can move forward in life with clarity, purpose, and confidence, knowing that she has everything she needs within herself. When a woman finds herself without friends, it can become a valuable time to deepen her spiritual life and build a closer relationship with God. Often, when we are surrounded by social interactions, we can get distracted by the noise of life's busy schedules, conversations, and the constant presence of others. In these moments of solitude, a woman is given the opportunity to connect with God in a way that is more intimate and focused. Without the external distractions, she can hear the voice of God more clearly and experience His presence more deeply. This period of isolation is often seen as a gift, allowing a woman to shift her attention from the external world to the internal and spiritual realms. It becomes a time of reflection, prayer, and meditation. Through this process, she can become more attuned to God's guidance, allowing her to receive wisdom and direction that she might have overlooked in the midst of social interactions. A woman without friends is positioned to prioritize her spiritual growth in ways that might not have been possible when her time and attention were divided among friends, events, and activities. As she draws closer to God, A woman will begin to experience the comfort and peace that comes from relying on Him rather than relying on people for emotional support. Human friendships are wonderful, but they are also flawed and temporary. Friends can fail us, disappoint us, or move away. But God is constant, faithful, and ever present. In the absence of friends, a woman learns to lean on God as her primary source of comfort, strength, and wisdom. She discovers that God's presence can fill the void that human relationships cannot always satisfy. This deeper reliance on God helps her to develop a sense of peace and assurance, knowing that she is never truly alone. In this season of solitude, a woman can also deepen her prayer life. With fewer distractions, she has more time to spend in communion with God. Prayer becomes not just an activity or a habit, but a lifeline, a way to connect with the Creator who knows her heart, her struggles, and her desires. As she spends more time in prayer, she begins to understand the importance of seeking God's will in every area of her life. She can bring her concerns, fears, and dreams to Him, knowing that He listens and cares. This deepened prayer life leads to greater clarity and direction as she seeks God's guidance for her future. Spending time alone with God allows a woman to experience spiritual growth in ways that she might not have expected. Often, in the busyness of life, we neglect the quiet time needed to study Scripture or reflect on its meaning. But when a woman is without friends, she has the opportunity to immerse herself in the Word of God. This not only strengthens her understanding of spiritual truths, but also helps her to apply those truths to her life. She gains a deeper sense of purpose and direction as she aligns her thoughts and actions with God's teachings. The Word of God becomes a source of strength, wisdom, and encouragement in her journey. In solitude, a woman has the chance to hear God's voice more clearly. When we are constantly surrounded by people, it can be difficult to discern God's leading because of all the competing voices and opinions. But when a woman is alone, she can tune out the noise of the world and focus on what God is saying to her personally. This can be a time of revelation and insight as she becomes more sensitive to the promptings of the Holy Spirit. She may receive answers to prayers, guidance for decisions, or a new sense of direction for her life. This clarity is often the result of spending time alone with God, free from the distractions and influences of others. Another benefit of deepening her spiritual life during this season is that it strengthens her faith. Without friends to turn to for advice or encouragement, a woman learns to trust God more fully. She realizes that He is her ultimate source of strength, wisdom, and guidance. As her relationship with God grows, so does her confidence in His ability to provide for her and lead her through life's challenges. This kind of faith is built in the quiet moments of solitude, where a woman can reflect on God's faithfulness in the past and trust Him for the future. She learns to walk by faith, not by sight, knowing that God is with her every step of the way. During this time, a woman may also experience a deeper sense of purpose as she connects with God's plan for her life. Without the distractions of social obligations, she has the space to ask God important questions about her calling and purpose. What is God's plan for her life? How can she use her gifts and talents to serve others? What does God want her to focus on in this season? As she seeks answers to these questions, she will find that God is faithful to reveal His purpose for her life. This sense of purpose will give her direction and motivation, even in the absence of friends. A woman who deepens her spiritual life during this time will also develop a greater sense of peace and contentment. The world often tells us that we need friends, relationships, and social connections to be happy and fulfilled. But when a woman finds her fulfillment in God, she realizes that true joy and peace come from her relationship with Him, not from the approval or companionship of others. She learns to be content in all circumstances, knowing that God is enough. This peace is not dependent on external factors, but on the unchanging nature of God's love and presence in her life. A woman without friends is in a unique position to deepen her relationship with God. This season of solitude allows her to focus on spiritual growth, develop a stronger prayer life, gain clarity and direction, strengthen her faith, and find true peace and contentment in God's presence. While the absence of friends may feel challenging at first, it ultimately leads to a deeper and more fulfilling connection with God, which is the foundation for a life of purpose and joy. When a woman finds herself in a season without friends, it can become a profound opportunity for personal growth. While many see friendships as essential to their sense of belonging and identity, being without them offers a unique chance to explore and develop one's own identity apart from external influences. Personal growth is often sparked in solitude, as it allows time for self-reflection, introspection, and a deeper understanding of who you are and where you want to go in life. This period, though sometimes lonely, can be one of the most transformative experiences a woman can have. When surrounded by friends, a woman's identity can sometimes become entwined with the expectations or opinions of others. Group dynamics can subtly shape her choices, behavior, and even her sense of self. She might find herself going along with the majority or adapting to fit in with her social circle, which can make it challenging to fully express her own individuality. However, when she is alone, there is no need to conform or please others. This opens up the space to rediscover or even redefine who she is on her own terms. In the absence of friends, she can start to see herself clearly, without the filter of how others view her. This clarity allows a woman to ask important questions about herself. Who am I when no one is around to influence me? What are my true desires, passions, and values? What kind of life do I want to live, regardless of what others think? In answering these questions, she begins to build a stronger sense of self. This process of self-discovery is an essential part of personal growth, as it encourages a woman to become more self-aware and intentional about her life. It also fosters self-confidence, as she starts to trust her own judgment and make decisions that are aligned with her authentic self. One of the key aspects of personal growth during this time is learning how to embrace self-reliance. Without friends to turn to for advice or emotional support, a woman must learn how to rely on herself. This can be daunting at first, but it is incredibly empowering. She realizes that she has the strength and wisdom within her to handle life's challenges on her own. Whether it's making important decisions, managing difficult emotions, or navigating through uncertainties, she becomes her own source of support. This self-reliance builds resilience as she learns that she is capable of standing strong in the face of adversity. This period of personal growth also encourages a woman to set new goals and take ownership of her life in a more intentional way. Without the distractions or influence of friends, she has the mental space and energy to focus on what truly matters to her. She can start to think about her future, her dreams, and the steps she needs to take to achieve them. This process of goal setting and planning is essential for personal development, as it helps her to move forward with a sense of purpose and direction. Rather than drifting through life, she becomes more proactive about creating the life she wants to live. Another important aspect of personal growth during this time is emotional development. Solitude provides the space to process emotions in a deeper and more meaningful way. Without friends to vent to or distract herself with, a woman has to confront her feelings head on. This can be uncomfortable, but it's also incredibly beneficial. By sitting with her emotions, she learns how to navigate through them rather than avoiding or suppressing them. This emotional maturity is key to personal growth, as it teaches her how to cope with challenges, stress, and difficult situations in a healthy way. In addition to emotional growth, this period of solitude allows a woman to cultivate a deeper relationship with herself. Often we are so focused on our relationships with others that we neglect the most important relationship of all, the one we have with ourselves. Being alone provides the perfect opportunity to nurture self-compassion, self-acceptance, and self-love. She learns to appreciate her own company, to enjoy spending time with herself, and to find joy in her own interests and passions. This deeper relationship with herself forms the foundation for long-lasting personal growth, as it helps her to become more grounded and secure in who she is. Personal growth during this time also involves reevaluating past relationships and patterns. A woman without friends may find it helpful to reflect on why her friendships ended or why she is currently in a season of isolation. This reflection is not about blaming herself or others, but about gaining insight into the dynamics that led to her current situation. She may realize that some friendships were unhealthy, unbalanced, or simply no longer aligned with who she is becoming. This awareness allows her to approach future relationships with more wisdom, setting healthier boundaries and seeking out connections that are more authentic and fulfilling. As she grows personally, a woman also learns to find fulfillment from within rather than seeking it externally. Friendships are important, but they should not be the sole source of a woman's happiness or self-worth. This time of being without friends teaches her that she is enough on her own. She learns to find joy in her own accomplishments, passions, and personal growth. This internal fulfillment leads to a deeper sense of contentment and peace, which is not dependent on others. Personal growth during this time of solitude prepares a woman for future relationships. When she eventually forms new friendships or reconnects with old ones, she will bring a stronger, more self-assured version of herself to the table. She will no longer seek friendships out of loneliness or neediness, but from a place of confidence and self-sufficiency. This makes for healthier, more balanced relationships because she is not looking for others to complete her or fill a void. Instead, she is able to engage in friendships as a whole person, contributing to the relationship from a place of strength rather than dependence. Being without friends, though challenging, offers a unique opportunity for profound personal growth. It is a time for self-discovery, emotional development, and cultivating self-reliance. A woman learns to embrace her independence, set new goals, and nurture a deeper relationship with herself. A woman who embraces this journey of solitude is not merely surviving, she is thriving, growing into the unique person God designed her to be. This transformation becomes a testimony of faith and resilience, showing that even in isolation, one can find purpose, strength, and a renewed sense of belonging within themselves and their relationship with God. She finds fulfillment from within, builds resilience, and gains the wisdom needed to form healthier, more authentic relationships in the future. This season of solitude, while temporary, can be one of the most transformative and empowering experiences in a woman's life, setting the stage for a more fulfilling and purposeful future. The journey of a woman without friends is not merely a season of solitude, but a profound opportunity for transformation and growth. While the absence of friendships can initially bring feelings of loneliness and uncertainty, it is within this space that true self-discovery takes place. As she learns to deepen her relationship with God, embrace her individuality, and cultivate self-reliance, she emerges stronger and more resilient. This time apart allows her to reflect on her identity, develop emotional maturity, and find fulfillment within herself, rather than relying on external sources of validation. Through prayer and introspection, she gains clarity on her purpose and direction in life, discovering the strength to pursue her passions and goals. By embracing this solitude, she equips herself with the tools needed to build healthier and more meaningful relationships in the future. The experience of being without friends can lead to a more profound connection with oneself and with God, fostering an inner peace and contentment that transcends circumstances.